Yeah. Okay. So yeah, again a question from my end. So yeah, as we just discussed right now that these will be the data types or the data structures which we'll be using more often into the R. Okay. So can anyone tell me what is the difference between vector and list? What is the difference between vector and list? Yes, anyone?
And before answering, I just want to make one thing clear.
Hmm.
The list which we are talking about, is it about linked list or
No, no,
list which
no,
we are
no,
talking
no,
about
no,
in
no.
Python?
Yes, 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 yes. List. See,
One difference. Okay, okay,
yes, yeah, yeah. Go ahead, Aaron. Yeah.
One difference we can note here is that vectors will have a definite direction that we can say.
Hmm.
So by that we can relate that the traversing may be entirely dependent on direction, whereas list it can be traversed in
Uh,
both the ways, as in
okay,
uh,
okay, okay. No,
negative
no, no, no.
indexing.
So here we are treating all of them as normal data types. Okay. I think if I might have written this word. Okay. So just treat them as normal data types. Okay. Fine. So let me just tell you. Okay. In a very simple term, we can say vector will be dealing with mostly same type of data. So we can say it will be more of homogeneous in nature. Okay. And it can deal with different type of data. It will be more of heterogeneous. Okay. Right. Okay. So we will see and we will understand also. We will make them and we will understand. Okay. I hope we all are clear about what arrays or matrices. Okay. Because when you talk about arrays or matrices, it will be most of we talk about rows and columns. Okay. And what exactly data frame is, that we will understand, but yes, we can definitely do an analogy of a data frame as simple as a table. Okay. So these are going to be the four important we can say aspects that we are going to see. Okay. So if we all are clear with it, let us start with that. Okay. So now I wanted to, let's say, create a vector. Okay. So how I'm gonna do it? Okay. So let's start with it. So simple thing would be, yeah, I'll be writing a name of a variable. Okay, let's say I can write it as v1. Now there are two symbols which we can use to assign something in R. So this is the first symbol. Okay, less than sign, and then a kind of, we can say, small hyphen, and then there is a function. The name of the function is C. Okay, which stands for basically concatenation. You start with a bracket and you define the values which are going to be a part of a vector. So let's say I'll write 10 comma 20 comma 30. Okay, that's it. If I want to see how my vector looks like, I'm going to make use of print function, and in bracket I'm going to pass the name of my variable. That's it. And then you can see, so in just we can say, now why I'm showing you this one, because then when we will see list, we have to understand the difference. So it just treats as a set of these values all together, right? Okay. So it is having 10, 20, and 30 all together. It's not like that 10 is at a different position, 20 is at a different position, and 30 is a different position. Okay. So it's now holding a concatenation of the values as 10, 20, and 30. So vector is very useful, whenever you want to give a set of values to something or assign a set of values to something. Okay. Now let's say I'm going to declare v2. Now I'm going to make use of equal to sign. Okay, so you can definitely go with this sign also. Okay, I'm going to have, let's say, a, b, and c, and then I'm going to go with like this. Okay, so I hope you have understood till here. Okay, now what if, okay, just a second. Okay, what if I give, let's say, though I know that vector is homogeneous, but what if I try to give some heterogeneous data over there? So I go with v3, I go with c function, and then I assign 1 comma d comma 50. Okay, and see, so what we see, that it has accepted it. It has not thrown any exception or something like that, but rather than it has converted each and every to what we can say a kind of a higher data type which it will treat over here, because the data conversion will always be possible onto the other end. So basically it will do a kind of a little bit typecasting, and then it will convert everything into a particular data type over here, and what you see, the end result will be a similar data type again. So it proves that it is going to be homogeneous. Okay, so this is as simple as that about basically we can say a vector. Okay, again just telling you, you have to write a variable. Okay, you have to make use of c function, you have to make use of a start and an end parenthesis, and you have to just provide a set of values over there. And to see what are the values stored into vector, you can make use of the print function, and in the bracket you just pass the name of that variable, and that's it. You will be able to see the output of it. Okay, so are you all clear with how a vector looks like and how we are going to make it?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, everyone. Okay,
Yes.
okay, okay, fine. Now, in R, let's say if you want to remove whatever is visible onto the console right now, okay, it's simply you want to clear the console, you can press a combination of Control plus L, okay. So I'll just tell you, okay, you can have a combination of Control plus L, and it will help you to clear your console. If somebody is also practicing right now, they can definitely try and they will understand. Okay, so because I have already seen how my vector and everything looks like, I will again go with it. But now I want to go with my list, so I am going to just remove it. Okay, yes, my console is cleared. Now I will go for making my list. Okay, so now how I am going to make my list? So in R, everything is most about knowing the functions for doing a particular thing. Okay, so what we just saw right now, that if I want to make my vector, then I have to go with using a C function. Okay, the very easy and simplest function. Okay, so if I wanted to go for making a list, okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to write, let's say I'll write list one. Okay, and the function that I'm going to use is list. Okay, so to avoid confusion, let's try to give some name of the variable, okay, which is a bit different than the function. Okay, so I'll give something like, okay, list data one. Okay, assignment symbol, the name of the function is list. Okay, and first of all, let me give similar values. Okay, we'll test it one by one. Okay, so let's say I have given the values as 1 2 3. Now the print function remains the same, and in bracket I'm going to give list data 1. What difference do we see as an output from list and vector? Yes, can anyone let me know what is the difference? We did the similar thing, okay? Yeah, definitely we used a symbol as C over here, and then we treated the variable as vector, and then the output was just a concatenation of these values. Whereas if you see over here the output, okay, it's getting indexed basically. If you can see, the output is getting indexed, so each and every value is going to be treated as an individual value. So you have a scope. When you declare list, you have a scope to access the first value, you have a scope to access the another value, you have a scope to access the next value, and so on. Okay, so this is the first major difference which I would like to tell you. Okay, let's make another list. Okay, let's go ahead. Now let's make use of different data types. Okay, so I'm going to take 10, then I'm going to take, let's say, red. I'm going to make 30. Okay, what we were seeing when we were making use of vector is that everything was getting just converted to or getting typecasted to a similar data type. But now here in list we can very well understand that it will not happen, because each and every value itself has its own existence. Okay, so if at all I'm going to now print it, yes, the first value, okay, does not lose its data type, okay, which means it is being treated as integer only. The second value is treated as string only, and the third value is treated as integer only. Okay, you can also append, or you can also have. So now I'm going to make use of equal to. See, I'll on and off make use of either this as an assignment symbol or this, whichever you are comfortable with it, you can go ahead. So now I'm going to go with something like, let's say, green. Then I'm going to use a boolean value which is true. Then I'm going to use an integer value. Okay. Uh, that's it. Okay. There is one more other thing which I would like to show you, which I will show you in the next list creation. Okay. Current list data 3. Okay. Now, first of all, by seeing this, you should understand that R understands what is float, R understands what is integer, R understands what is boolean, R understands what is string. Okay, but there is no need to so it this part is very similar to Python. Why I'm trying to tell you is something like this. Let's say I'll make a simple variable a equals to 10. Okay, and then I say print a. Okay, I say a equals to green. I say print a. I say a equals to 5.6. I say print a. I say a equals to true. I say a. So students, did you understood what has happened over here? Okay. So it knows, right? But it can typecast itself into a particular, the same variable, is getting assigned with different values, which are basically belonging to different data types. Okay. So definitely this is going to be int, this is going to be string, this is going to be float, and this is going to be a boolean value, and so on. So in a way, okay, it is very similar. Okay, the word that we use is basically, we call it as, it is a typeless language. Okay, which means there is no need to we can say define a type at the beginning of the we can say our code. Rather than we can keep on assigning it, and then it can take its particular type. Okay, so we were over here. Okay, we were at this point, list data 3. Okay, and then we have assigned 4 different values, and then we can see that it can access all different values, and then we can, okay. Now let's try to access, so now what we have seen is that if I'm going to print my list, okay, I'm going to able to access all the values. Now what we're going to do is instead, so let's say we'll make a list again. I'm going to write list data 4 equals to list, and then I'm going to write, let's say, apple. Then I'm going to write, let's again, let us write as 90, and let us write as 4.5, and then let us write this as true. Okay. Now this is something, okay, which I know that if I'm going to write as list data 4, then I'm going to access all the values. But what if I just want to access the float value, that is 4.5? So can anyone tell me what I should be able to write over here, or what I'm supposed to write? If I'm directly write the name of the variable like this, I'm going to get all the values. So instead, what should I?
Ma'am,
Yes,
Ma'am,
yes.
index value.
Okay,
index value, ma'am.
okay. So yeah, what we see, the indexes are starting from 1. Okay, the indexes are starting from 1 over here. Okay, they are not starting with 0. Okay, so I can find out the index value of, okay, of 4.5. So it will be 1, 2, and 3. So I'm simply going to make use of square brackets. I'm going to write 3, close the square brackets, close the round brackets, and see, yes, I was able to access, that is 4.5. Okay, similarly, if I want to access the last value, then I'm going to write list data 4 bracket, again it will be 4 because it is the last value I will be able to access. Okay, so this is how now we can see that list is going to work. Okay, so are you all clear till here? Is everyone clear till here? Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Yeah. Now what we're going to do is we're going to make a list, and as we just told, that list can be a collection of multiple data types. So vector itself could also be a part of a list. So let's try to make and see. So now I'm going to write something like list data 5. This is the 5th list I'm creating. I'll use the function as list. Okay, and let's say the first value which I'm going to use is as 80. The second value I'm going to make use of it as a float value. The third value which I'm going to make use of is a string. Okay, let's say hi. The next value which I'm going to make use of is a bool value, and now I'm going to make use of a vector. So tell me, if I want to write a vector over here, what I'm supposed to do? Let's say I want to write a vector which is having values as 10, 20, and 30. What should I write? Yes, what should I write? So
मैम एक
one,
बार रिपीट करो ना क्वेश्चन.
okay. If I want to make a vector over here which is having 3 values, 10, 20, and 30, what should I write? One alternative will be I should make a vector before this list data, store it into a variable, and pass that variable over here. Okay, but let's say we haven't done it. So instead I directly want to create a small vector over here and have 3 values. So what I should write? First of all, tell me which function are we going to use to create the vector?
C.
C. So it is as simple as that. I'm going to write C, and then simply I'm going to pass these 3 values. Okay, so C function is over and the list function is over. Okay, let us first print the whole list which we have made. So I'm going to write list data 5. Can you see now? Okay, so let us try to access. The first value was 80, yes, correct. The second value was float, correct. The third value was string, correct. The fourth value was boolean, false, correct. And what we see, the fifth value, it is being treated as a vector. Okay, if you are trying to access, I think now this is something which you all have understood. Okay, the fifth value, we can get a vector. So what we understood over here is that it is possible that vector could be a part of a list itself, because it is treated as a different kind of a data type. That's it. Okay, so are you all clear till here? Did you understood how this has happened?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, yeah, fine. So let me just put all these things into a notepad so that I can give you. Just a second. Now, students, our practical one is about all these four types which I have shown you. First was vector, second is list, third is going to be array, and fourth is going to be data frames. Okay. So if you tell me that you are done with both, or you have understood vectors and list properly, then definitely uh, we can actually start with arrays. Okay. So should we start with arrays? Should we go ahead with arrays?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, 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 fine. Now, can anyone tell me, if I want to clear my console, what is the combination of key which I'm going to use?
Control L.
Control
Control
plus L.
plus L.
Okay, so I'm going to use Control L. Okay. Now, when you when you tell about arrays, so basically there are certain different ways which are actually we can say available in R to create the arrays. Okay, we will be seeing one of the way, and then our second practical is mostly about matrix operations. So when we will see our second practical, we will see a different way also to create an array. Okay, so today we will be just seeing how I'm going to create an array. Okay, and we will stop after that. Okay, so because it is a process. Okay, which we have to understand and take care. Now, let's say first of all, you have to decide uh, your dimension of the array. Okay, so let's keep it bit simple. Let's say I want to have an array of 3 by 3. Okay, so if you have to declare an array of 3 by 3, the very first process is that so when you say you have to declare an array of 3 by 3. Okay, so how many values will be assigned? First of all, we have to think in that aspect. If I am going to create an array of 3 by 3, how many values will I be needing over there? Yes, can anyone tell me how many values I will need?
Nine, ma'am.
Yes, absolutely. It is as simple as that. Okay, you will be needing 9 values. Okay, so what I'm going to do is, first of all, I'm going to make a vector. Okay, and I'm going to assign 9 values over there. It can be definitely any 9 values. Okay, but I have kept it simple as 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9. Okay, definitely I'll check my vector. See, because the only way to give values in R, okay, you cannot just straight away give values. The another way will be creating variables, but then in that case we have to create multiple variables. So creating a vector and assigning multiple values over there will be the easiest way. Okay, so let's say I have done like this. Now if I say that if I say that there is a 3 by 3 matrix, which means there will be, we can say, 3 rows and there will be 3 columns. Okay, so in that case I have to, next thing which I have to do is I have to give the names of the row. So for that in R we are going to make use of something like row dot names. Again, because I have to give 3 values, so I have to again make use of concatenation function. I'll make it very simple like this. I'll say row 1. Okay, I'll say row 2. So there is a process to create an array in R. Okay, so maybe first time, we may find it a bit tricky, but then once we are used to it, it will be very easy for us. Okay, if you want to see what is there in row dot names, you can always access like this. Then you are going to write something like call dot names C, and over there you are going to write column 1, column 2, column 3. Okay, so we call, this is something which is a pre-preparation for making an array, this is a pre-preparation for making an array. Okay, now once we are done with this, there is one more thing, okay student, which we can do over here, because uh, in R, whenever you are going to create an array or matrices, it gives you, an additional functionality to repeat that matrice or array for number of times, which means the same matrice, you can create multiple number of times also. Okay, so for that we can give the name of the matrix. Okay, we will see all these again. Let's have it simple right now. So as of now, I'll show you that way only, so that probably you will understand what I'm trying to say. And let's say matrix 2. Okay, now once we are done with this, now I'm going to make my array. So I will say my array. Okay, or you can also give name of, as let's say my matrice is equals to. Now we are going to learn another function today. Okay, so the name of that function is array. So we learned a C function, we learned the list function, we learned the print function, and the next function is array. Now to use array function, there are some of the arguments which we have to follow. So what is the first argument? The first argument will be the set of values which has to be given to the array. Can anyone tell me which variable I should pass over here if I want to pass the set of values of my matrice or of my array? In which variable?
And
Yes, please.
V1.
Perfect. Okay, so the first we can say the parameter will be your set of values. Now, just understand students, if at all you wouldn't have created V1, then simply by writing this also you can pass all these values. Are you understanding what I'm trying to tell you? Basically, it needs set of values. So let's say if you wouldn't have done like this, you can straight away use a C function and pass all the values over here, the similar way we have just done in list right now. But now to make it more simple, okay, we have already made our variables, so I'm going to pass it like this. Okay, now the second we can say um, parameter is about, we can say, mentioning the dimensions. To mention the dimension, I have to write something like dim is equals to, okay, and then I have to mention 3 dimensions over here. Now why 3 dimensions? Okay, so third one is not actually dimension but a repetition of how many times you want the same matrix. Okay, so I'll tell you again, because I have to give a set of 3 values over here, I have to make use of C function. Now the first value will be the number of rows, so the number of rows are 3. The second value will be the number of columns, so the number of columns is 3. And the third value, the number of times you want the same matrix. I hope you will understand it as soon as we see our output. So I want my matrix to be repeated twice. So I will give 2. Definitely you can display your matrix one also for once also, but that we already know. So that's why we are understanding this dimension. Okay. So the first dimension, the first argument will be the set of values. The second argument will be the number of dimensions. The third argument will be the dimension names. For that, you have to write dim names is equals to, okay. And now you will have to give row names, column names, and matrix names as a part of it, okay. Because row names, column names, and matrix names, okay, are stored differently, you have to make use of list function over here, okay. C function will not work, so you have to simply pass row dot names, call dot names, matrix dot names, okay. Once dim names is given, you can close the bracket for the list, and then you can close the main bracket, okay. Let's see how my matrix looks like, okay. So the values that we have given, we have different functions, okay. So that all I will tell you, but could you see this is the matrix name, the first two, comma comma, because it was the first two parameters, it will not access, it will third just access the third parameter, okay. What I mean to say, it will access matrix names, and then you could see the same matrix is being repeated twice, okay. The values were 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9. The names of the columns were row 1, row 2, row 3, call 1, call 2, call 3, and so on. Now let's say if you want your matrix to be displayed only once, okay, if you want that it has to be displayed only once, what I'm going to do is, you can always make use of up arrow key to see the commands that you have written. Now in this command, I'm going to change the last value as 1, okay, in dimension, okay. Okay. Okay, because we have given matrix dot names and there are two values given over here, so that's why it is not taking right now, okay. So maybe we have to change everything, but I think today we can stop over here. Let us first just quickly see what we have done right now. So next time we can change the value of matrix dot names also and then pass it over here. So before before proceeding with that, let us first revise what we have done. So we made a vector. Let's see the process of making an array. We made a vector, okay, and then we created a variable in which we are going to store the names of the rows. Then we made a variable in which we are going to store the names of the columns, and then we made a variable in which we are going to store the name of matrices. Let's say if we just wanted to go with one matrix, then probably we have to discard this, and it will be having only one value over here, okay. Then we made use of an array function. The very first argument was the vector, that is the number of values which we want to pass it into the array. The next one was dimensions, that is the rows, columns, and the number of times we want the matrix to be repeated. And then dimension names, which will be a combination of rows, columns, and the name of matrix. And then simply we'll print it, and then we'll get something like this as our output. Okay, so I'll try to put things still here into our notepad file. Okay. So this was about we are definitely going to practice arrays again and see variations into it. So variations in the sense I'm talking, as of now you have seen the values to be displayed like 1 2 3 4 5 6. What if you want your values to be displayed like 1 2 3 then 4 5 6? Then definitely there are certain things available, there are certain arguments available which you can pass, and then you can change it like this. But yeah, this is a process in which you're going to create your arrays. You're going to create You're going to have your set of values, you're going to have your set of dimensions, and then you're going to have your set of dimension names. Okay. Yeah.
Ma'am.
So